Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this started with another Hero Arena GvG. In this series, I haven't done a great job of explaining it thus far. I pick a hero, we play a couple of games, you learn a bit about the hero, we move on, and the target this time is going to be Dragonfyre over on the second page. Go ahead and click the G and you select Dragonfyre. Now, the way I think of it, you either have a tank, a carry, or a support. I just lift those terms from League of Legends. It's very helpful, very useful. Dragonfyre, despite appearing to fly, he's actually a ground-based unit, and he does a lot of poking. And that's really what he's best at, is just poking things down. He has his Q Firestorm that casts fire in an area, and it does AoE to enemy units that are in that area for the cost of mana. It's pretty good. And we're gonna go ahead and cast some of it right here and see if we can't hit some of these units. I think we're fighting a Sands, and we killed the Sands, so that's okay. One of the things that I'm really liking about the Dragonfyre is that he actually has this really interesting aspect to his vision, where he can see above cliffs even though he cannot fly. So if we were on the ground, we would be able to see over the cliffs. This gives him a revealer-like support aspect where you can use him for vision, and this combination of Medic and Dragonfyre is fantastic because he's not a carry, and he's not a tank. Doesn't do damage quickly enough to be a true threat that must be respected in that regard, but at the same time, he's not tanky enough to withstand everything on his own. So we've been using our Q, we've been using our Firestorm ability, but there is another ability that I'd like to focus on using. Oh, and it looks like it's going to get up there, and we might get a chance to use it here, which is Meteor. We cast a giant rock, and it's going to do some serious damage. Notice this is what I was talking about before with the vision, and this spot is really abusable, used a lot by other people. So the fact that we have that and can use that is fantastic. I think we're going to continue to fire rocks at this guy. The rocks, again, not AoE as much, but it does decent damage, so we're going to see if we can't cast at a distance here. And we are going to get a lot of free damage up on these units, and he is using a Rock Climber. Now, Rock Climber is not bad. I like that Invincible wasn't focused there. That allowed our medic to get away. When you break the line of sight, it allows you to have vision, and this is not ours, so we are going to use the edge of our range to take it out as I push. No, Drake, not right now. So we're going to take this out for free, and you want to if you're up against Rock Climber. I think we have a really good scenario going on right now for, here we go. Yeah, we're going to trap him right here, and I think we have a fantastic scenario, so much as we can possibly have a fantastic scenario, because we do have the medic for support, and we do have decent DPS. So now we're going to try and cast our, it's not really an ultimate, but nice, and he's been eliminated. Now we just have the Rock Climber left, and once I get to 10 mana, I'm going to try and cast Meteor, and you'll see what Meteor does. It fires on the ground and knocks them away in AoE, and it does a lot of damage. So there we go. We get the easy win, 1-0 in Hero Arena GvG with the Dragonfyre. We didn't even go into what he's good for as a teammate, so we don't even have to search this map anymore. Hero Arena GvG is #1. Bam! So we're going to go ahead and pick that, and now we're going to talk a bit about his teammates. So as I said, he's not a tank, and he's not a carry. You have to envision, I think, the Dragonfyre as a strong support. I would use him I would not use him in 2v2 because there are too many things that are more effective. In particular, if you're up against something that has more range, like the Assassin, etc., you're just going to get poked out. He does have the AoE, so he has some minor defense against invisible units, and with Lord of Darkness being a very powerful hero, that's good. You're going to want him either with... Either you have two ways, I think, of playing Dragonfyre if you're in a 3v3. Again, if you're in a 2v2, I wouldn't encourage it. But if you're in a 3v3, he's a strong, aggressive support. So you can either team him with a more passive support and then get someone, either fill the tank or the carry role, which is what we saw in the previous game. We had Medic, who is a more supportive champion, healing us up. and that allowed us to keep going. If you are that more aggressive of two supports, then if they pick the tank, if the third player on your team is the tank, then it's okay for you to be the second to the last or even the last person alive. You want everyone else to die because at the end of the day, it's the damage that's going to get through. Really, the tank just kind of sucks up damage and makes sure that the back and forths don't affect the frankly squishier champions. And then you have the other option, which is if you have a aggressive support in the Dragonfyre and you don't have a support, of course there's the obvious potential there of the last person on your team picking the carry instead of the tank, in which case you want to die before them anyways. Now let's talk about the other option, which is you have the Dragonfyre as a pretty aggressive support. The problem is that he's a damage support. He's not going to be buffing or debuffing people. He has some minor debuffs with his Meteor, his W, 10 mana, fire in a range, and it's a pretty slow rock with decent range. I would say decent range, and it caused decent knockback, but it is 10 mana, and you're not going to chain that together. So his Q and his E, frankly, are almost the same as one another. One fires the damage in a small cone, the other one fires rocks on a particular target. So what you're seeing here is that you're not going to be able to support people. So in that sense, people that can't use a lot of support or can function without it are fine. So Dragonfyre is great because of his vision capabilities of keeping tabs on what your opponent is doing and stopping them from abusing cliffs or pathing as they may want to otherwise. So unbelievably, Sans is actually a fantastic teammate because Dragonfyre is not going to be able to peel or support them anyways, but it is very aggressive. So if you have Dragonfyre even acting in a limited capability and soaking up some damage, that gets Sans up and out of the way. Virus is invincible. Not right now. Virus is pretty good because Dragonfyre makes a lot of space and has a lot of vision. And because it has decent move speed, you can run away. You have just enough CC or crowd control to back away, meteor people back away, and just attack them in really uncomfortable areas. What the strongest point of Dragonfyre has to be that he can see up elevations higher than his ability, than his normal movement path. Because despite having wings and flying, he's actually still on the ground. So the fact that he can see up the cliffs, and especially cliffs that are normally abusable, is fantastic. Now we're ready to go. Everybody ready? I'm assuming everyone's ready. People are telling me to go. So we're going to go for game number 2 in Hero Arena GvG with the Dargon, and we're going to see what team we get. I kind of asked people to pick specific roles last time. Not necessarily heroes, but roles. And so one thing to note that's pretty important is that the Dragon's attack is his attack rate is pretty good. It's 1.75 seconds, but that's actually pretty good for this mod. And it does have range, which a lot of these don't. So Johnson Yen has picked the twins, and these have got to be frontline. The twins can make a copy of themselves, so that's okay. So we're going to act that, remember, we're not playing with double support. There's a clear carry in the engineer and a clear tank over here in Johnson Yen. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a more pokey as soon as come on engineer set up camp. Agreed. And I'm going to go scout and play mini revealer essentially. And what we want to do is make sure that people are not, and that is that's Vigar or Vagar. So we have good range here, and we get to see, this is a sentry. Okay, so that indicates to us we're going against an engineer. I did not know this, but Dragonfyre is pretty good against the engineer. The range is very, very helpful, and we can obviously see where our opponents are at any time. So we're going to go ahead here and hit Miner Man for quite a bit. He's going to go one way or the other, but if we just keep the fire, here we go. Yeah, we're going to try and get some more damage on these people. We are going up against another Dragonfyre, but we're being more effective, I think, overall. So let's get to 10 mana and then see if we can't go ahead and kill that one, because that would help us out tremendously if we could. And we're going to kind of, can we YOLO shot that? I don't know, but we could definitely try. Let's go ahead. We're going to cast this here, and we're going to see if we can't get the ultimate kill. Yep, we're going to do a lot of damage over here to this Dragonfyre. He might not even escape, and we kill one. 2 heroes. All right, that was unexpected, but we're doing fantastically. And we're going to go ahead now and just cast rocks on Execura until the game ends. No reason to force him to engage. And we're going to hit this area right here as he tries to escape. And that should be it. There we go. 2 wins over now on Dragonfyre. You saw how he could be that supportive, aggressive support. He's set up really nicely. I think the engineer is a good teammate because you're creating space. If you're going out there attacking, moving, doing things, being aggressive, that's okay because that sets up time for the engineer. The engineer currently has a bug where, or maybe it's a feature, where he can only have one level 1 sentry turret at a time. However, if he upgrades it to sentry 2, he can have 1 sentry level 1 and 1 sentry level 2 at any one time, but you can have infinite sentry 2s. So now we're playing on the bottom half of the map, and this is where our ability to see up cliffs and ramps is actually going to be even more valuable, because when you're playing up on the top side, it is easier and faster for you to get over here, just the natural pathing, not even counting champions or heroes that can skip over the ledge as to start with an ability such as the Deceiver. You can go up here and secure this high ground, or at least be aware of it very quickly. So we're not likely to control the high ground, especially given that we have this rifleman. So we're counting on Braven. He picks the Lord of Darkness, always a good pick. One of the cool things is that we don't have to go up this hill and risk taking damage in order to see what is up this hill. So we're going to go and do some area control here, and we're going to get some free damage. And that is okay by me. I am fine with free damage. And I didn't see quite what that was. Is that a ground baneling? I don't remember what hero precisely does that. So one benefit that we have secured is that somehow, improbably, we have ended up holding this high ground. Now, of course, we have to vacate the second that there's any large push, and they are trying to secure the high ground over there. But I think we might just barely... Can we hit this? That would be sick. No, Braven, no! Braven, don't leave us, Braven! It does not look like. Okay. Yep, and that is the mini baneling, as I call it. Allows them to do quite a not small amount of damage, shall we say. It's very important that we get this, get these sentries and get these knocked out as much as possible and as consistently as possible, because we are going to end up taking a lot of damage if we don't. Okay, we do get the kill over there, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. We are facing up against, that is a Frenzy Inbound. Frenzy Inbound is able to make essentially these little mini banelings that do quite a decent amount of damage, and we're going to want to kill that dispenser if possible. I'm not entirely sure what the abilities are for this champion, but if we can kill that dispenser, that'll be good for us. Yeah, we do take down some of that, but we are taking a couple of hits as well, so we are going to want to run away. I'm not sure what the Frenzy Inbound hero's abilities are, but I do know that one of our abilities is to get there with the damage, so we're going to do a decent amount here, and yeah, they weren't even expecting it, and they can't stop us because of the high ground, so it does look like we're going to get a couple more decent hits in. Now, I don't know if that means that we're going to go ahead and win. It doesn't seem very likely. Can we get this guy? And he's... Oh, yep, he does get the hit, but we need the guys to be over here. And they do have low health, and we can abuse them from spots they're not quite prepared to handle. But I don't think that that means that we're going to win, barring some kind of, frankly, miracle. It's gonna require quite a bit. Now, we get to kill these dispensers. The dispensers are important that we kill, because every time that we kill one of those, that means that our enemy is not recovering the health they would like to recover. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm not at the mana necessary yet. We're going to go ahead and cast and try and buy us some space. I agree that he is doing something in the corner. Oh, but there we go. And that's what we have to look out for. That's going to be hard to handle, the dispenser over there. So we're going to go ahead and actually, this is why Lord of Darkness is a great carry for us. I don't even know if they have the ability to see invisible units. And if they don't, that means we get a lot of free hits. Very easily, very quickly, very succinctly. And I think our range is just good enough. And we are going to get that kill over here. But we have to be careful because there is the Frenzy Inbound hero. Oh, he does get the hit, and we are almost dead, but that's okay. Yeah. It looks like the real fight here is going to be between how long I can last and whether or not we clock out. No, Braven, don't disappear, Braven. We need you. Braven, please. Braven. Braven, no! Yeah, I am really, really low on health, like you noticed it. It's true. Let's see if we can't get the rock. The rock will not hit. It does not get anything, but we're going to try and survive. Nope. Alright, so here's the bad news. The bad news is that we're dead. Here's the good news, is that I don't think they can see invisible. And if they can't hit invisible, Braven could just do this forever. Yep. Now it's really a question of whether or not... Hit the dispenser! What are you doing? Make more invisible dudes. So this is the big thing right here. This is why Lord of Darkness is really good, but I don't know if Braven quite realizes that the advantage that he has. He needs to be attacking these heroes and make more invisible dudes. Yeah, the more invisible dudes that he has, the better. He really could just send all of these and Executor with the typecasting, I suppose. But he really needs to send all of his dudes out over here. He could win. This is a good defensive position that he's got right here. I don't know if anyone can actually break that. So let's see if we can't throw out a request for a tie. But I doubt that it will end up in a tie because they could just make infinite sentries right here. So request for tie. I think the other team has got this. If you just look, the Frenzy Inbound hero is still alive. Yeah, Johnson Yen still got his people alive. The Sentry and has the Engineer has the Dispenser and the Sentry is on the high ground. Yeah. And I do actually think that, no, this isn't gonna, yeah, because here's the thing, Johnson Yen's little explosive dude right there, yeah, he can detonate himself and get through the invisibility, so I think Braven isn't going to win, especially since we've seen some of his gameplay already. I don't know if he's actually going to be able to make enough dudes to get past this whole problem by himself. As my cat's looking at the pizza I had last night and wondering, where's my pizza? There goes one of the little invisible bomber dudes, and I just don't think there's any way for this game to end up successfully. Like, as long as he holds up in this spot right here, I don't think Braven's going to end up with the victory. Especially since Dragon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 can start upgrading these sentries to sentry level 2. As he upgrades them to level 2, they're going to have more range, and he's then going to be able to make a new level 1 turret. And I think ultimately it's just game. If we take a look, like Miner Man is scouting around and checking, but there's nothing to be concerned about because he does have a dispenser back there, and trading hit points for hit points is more than okay. As we were talking about before, one of the cool things there about the Frenzy Inbound hero, I don't know if I mentioned it, is that it doesn't really matter whether or not the Frenzy Inbound hero can see invisible units. It does have the means to take out sufficient invisible units or do some damage to them, as long as there's decent control, and he does have the ability to use that control. So there we go. Yep, the Elemental cast himself. He is now in the Earth form, where he has bonus armor, and he... oh no... the rock and the hard place. And even if the Lord of Darkness lives through this, which is going to be doubtful, I've not actually seen the Elemental play before, but ladies and gentlemen, here we go. And it doesn't look like all the King's horses and all the King's men are going to help him. Elemental looks like a very diverse hero. He reminds me of the Pokemon trainer from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. There's the explosion coming in, and boom! It seems it's a loss. But I hope that doesn't deter you from playing Dragonfyre. We had 2 great games, and we had 1 game where it could have gone either way, but it ended up in defeat, so I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll see you later.